Josh Vaney, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you very much for having me. I truly appreciate it.
Josh, you are the Michael Jordan of Michael Jordan collecting. Is that correct?
Michael Jordan toys, yes, definitely, 100%.
Toys specifically. Well,
yes.
That's good. That's what we care about.
Definitely, yep.
There is a professional wrestler in the United States, Matt Cardona, and I believe that his podcast follows you. He claims that he is the Michael Jordan of wrestling figure collecting. Have you guys connected Michael Jordan to Michael Jordan?
No, but we not directly, but through their podcasts and stuff. I have spoken with them and reached out because I thought it would be good to go one-on-one as the Michael Jordan of Michael Jordan toys versus the Michael Jordan of wrestling figurines. I thought that'd be a great matchup, definitely.
You need to start as like a super team of all the Michael Jordans of collecting.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. That would be great.
So first things first, why Michael Jordan? Why did you choose to focus on his collectibles?
I'll try to give it the shortest answer as possible. I'm a Magic Johnson fan first and foremost. I truly love Magic, and I'm a Lakers fan since the late 80s. So I guess I'm very fortunate to show you that in the mid-90s, I received for Christmas a Michael Jordan toy hoop. And you can see me there dunking on my younger sister. So having that...
That was your first piece of collectible?
That was it. I'm fortunate to have...
It started it all?
The photo that started it all correctly. So that nostalgia and memories of playing with that sort of lived with me. Fast forward to 2015. I was working FIFO. For those people who don't know, here in Western Australia, it's fly in, fly out work, which is what I still do at the moment. I was working away and I wanted to look for Magic Johnson toys on eBay, and I found there was 2 pages, so it was probably about 20 different Magic Johnson toys. So I felt that was quite attainable in a short amount of time, so it's not much of a challenge. So I remembered that hoop and sought for that on eBay and purchased that. And while I was there, I looked at Michael Jordan toys and came across 27 pages at that time of Michael Jordan toys. And I thought, now this is something that I'd really like to work towards. So I started pretty much buying one of each that I saw and started to build a collection that amassed from there.
There have been a lot of Michael Jordan action figures, but in the beginning, action figures were not what they are today. We had starting a lineup with these. They weren't very articulated. They were statues with maybe the arms could move. So what year did you say that you started collecting?
2015 is when I actually started buying Michael Jordan toys.
Okay.
Yep.
So by then we had we probably had some better action figures than just the starting lineup stuff.
Absolutely, and this is part of my story, my journey as well. So I was buying different figurines from eBay, as I said, and I came across this one in particular, and these were in plastic bags. Now this was very little known about at that time. I just kept buying these, and I'm very interested in this. So this comes, as you can see, with a handle, and as you mentioned, the starting lineup figures weren't posable or anything like this. This is actually functioning. This actually shoots a ball into a hoop.
Oh, look at that.
So I purchased 16 of these at this time off eBay, and there was no information. So I contacted my friend in Chicago who's written this book on collecting Michael Jordan memorabilia. His name is Oscar Gracia.
There you go. And
I contacted Oscar and said, have you had any information or knowledge about this figurine? And he said no. And I said, well, Ohio Art, the company responsible for making these toys, isn't that far from Chicago. And after that discussion, I hung up the phone to Oscar and rung the toy company. Now, at this stage, they had stopped dealing with Michael Jordan toys for nearly 2 decades. And I got in contact with our archives department to find out what I could sort of get from them. And I've come across quite a bit of a discovery and journey. So in June 16, 1987, taken from the local newspaper, Brian, it shows that this is indeed Michael Jordan's first toy endorsement with Ohio Art. And at that time, he was releasing 4 brand new products. Now, I'll just try to show it and hold it in. If you can zoom in on that one there, it actually shows you this figurine. So they've actually photographed and promoted Michael Jordan with this figurine, and it states 8 3/4 inch Michael Jordan figurine itself. So I couldn't figure out why these are in plastic bags. So what I came to discover, and what I have here, is only one of a handful of original boxed sets released. Now, as you can see, there's a difference. There's a white figurine and not this figurine. So I came to discover that what had happened is that in the process of Michael Jordan approving and photographing, promoting this figurine, there was something that occurred that would now stop it from being sold or released, which is absolutely fascinating because, as I said, we actually have proof that this was meant to be sold and released, and yet it wasn't. So that was quite a journey. In 2019,
Unreleased.
I travelled from Australia to Ohio Art. Actually, I did 10 cities, but one of them I specifically went to Ohio Art, and I met with the CEO and the archives lady there. And I took several of these toys, and they've been making and manufacturing toys for around 100 years. And one of them in particular that they're well known for is the Etch-a-Sketch. So I visited this toy company and took several of these toys with me and went to their archives room, and they don't have any. So I asked them to their face, I said, could you please explain to me why these weren't sold or released? And they told me it's due to a lack of popularity. And now, as I explained to them in 1987, early 1988, when Michael Jordan won that slam dunk comp for the second time, his star status was taking off. So popularity wasn't a reflection of his status. Popularity was, in fact, a reflection of the color. So the kids that tested this toy gravitated more towards this figurine as opposed to this figurine, and that's why we believe is part of the reason why it was not sold or released.
Wow. Okay. Well,
it goes.
So you have a bunch of the unreleased figures then.
Correct. So at that stage, I had 32, and I asked them how many were these possibly made.
Wow.
She predicted possibly 48 total. Now, since that email and that discussion, I've seen pictures of a couple more, but we're still talking about a prototype unreleased, so max 100, but I was told by them specifically 48. Now, what I'd like to show you as well is on the shoe of this toy, and this is part of the reason why we think this might not have gone ahead, it's wearing a Nike shoe. Now, this shoe is a replica of this shoe, which is called the Nike Air Ship, which is the first shoe that Michael Jordan actually wore in the NBA prior to his Air Jordan 1. So there's a possibility, and this has been speculated amongst the collecting community as well, because it's wearing a Nike branding shoe on a Jordan product, we believe Nike might have intervened and stopped it due to intellectual property infringement. So that might have been shut down as well by Nike, because the deal was between obviously Jordan and Ohio Art, not Nike. So that's another thing that may have stopped this from actually happening, which is great.
You talked about your trip over to the States. Where did you go? What was on your itinerary that you had to see?
So I went to New York first. I watched a NBA game at Madison Square Garden. And then I went to the All-Star game in Charlotte, which was at Jordan's birthday in 2019 on February 17th, which was fantastic. From there, I went to Orlando, where I visited the trophy room, which is his son, Marcus Jordan. Marcus owns and runs that store, the trophy room. And from there, I went to Ohio Art, which was fantastic, and Chicago. So I took this toy with me and got it photographed at the Jordan statue in Chicago, Las Vegas, where Jordan married his first wife. I even went to Alcatraz and took these to Alcatraz because I knew nobody had ever done that before and stuff like that. So I traveled quite a bit.
Sure. Now, are you a basketball fan, or are you a Michael Jordan fan?
I'm definitely a basketball fan, and I have been for decades. Michael Jordan is certainly the greatest of all time, so I have absolute admiration and respect for what he's been able to achieve on and off the court. As you can see, his star status still continues to grow in regards to shoe sales, and he's successful in other enterprises and business stuff as well. Magic's still my favourite player. It's just Jordan has such a great legacy, which I believe I'm starting to add value to in regards to the toy side of things, which is undervalued and underappreciated.
Do you collect Magic collectibles as well, or there's just not as many?
There's not there's not as many. I do have a few, but it's not as many. And it's the story with this one alone, like being credited for discovering something that anything that's existed for 30 plus years in America, and yet a guy from Perth, Western Australia, one of the most remote cities in the world, comes across this, and just due to my eagerness for education and learning, we unearthed and now discovered and given this its true title of the world's first and rarest Michael Jordan figurine. And I actually have one that's different from the rest. So I have prototype floors. So if you see this one, it has a white chest on the top. So that's a factory floor done back in 1987.
Like he's wearing an undershirt.
Yeah. And then the night ticks on this are reversed as opposed to these. So that is one of, it's the only one I've ever seen out of the 48 plus that makes this extremely rare. And I've had this photographed with some pretty close people to Michael Jordan as well, which makes it even more special.
Does the head look like MJ, or it's just a generic player?
Well, it's funny you say that, because in the photograph itself, again, this is pretty hard to see, but I'll do my best to show you. The one that MJ's photographed and promoting there, what they did is they actually just painted this one black just to get it done. So he wasn't happy with that.
Oh, so they painted the Caucasian toy black.
Correct, for photograph.
And then they were like, here you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So MJ wasn't happy with that.
So it's a Caucasian head under there. Right. Yeah.
So if you can get...
Okay. Wow.
So he wasn't happy with that. So he's actually...
It was the 90s or 80s.
He's actually approved this head mold. So there is some interaction with Jordan. He's actually gone ahead and approved these. But again, it was stopped prior to being sold and released, which is absolutely fascinating.
Right. So the white figure did come out.
Correct. In the year before, in 1987, this is the 1987 Ohio Art Toy Catalog. The year before, they had the exact same hoop, but with the white figurine.
Oh, it's a big hoop. Look at that. Wow.
But in 1988, as I said, they've used Michael Jordan on the front of the packaging and the white figurine. Right. And then again, in the catalogue for 1988, his first year, they've reverted back to the white figurine, but have changed now the hoop to add Michael Jordan onto the hoop as well. So it's quite interesting how we went from a free poster showing that figurine to then getting the package and the product and having that figurine removed. It's absolutely fascinating.
Right. Was that the first toy to feature Michael Jordan, even if it wasn't a Michael Jordan toy? Was that the first toy to feature him?
100%. After that, it was the starting lineup figures. 100%. And the first one from 1988, I believe it's a white jersey one, that was known as the rookie figure within the Michael Jordan collecting community. Now, thankfully, we've been able to debunk that and are now given this toy its true title of the world's first Michael Jordan figurine.
There you go. So starting lineup had a bunch of Michael Jordans. Eventually, Todd McFarlane took over the NBA license, and he was able to do Legends. But I don't know that he was ever able to do a Michael Jordan because he had a separate licensing deal.
With Upper Deck, correct. So, yes, no, there were no McFarlane, figurines of Michael Jordan. So Upper Deck and then Enterbay have taken over and done quite a good job with their details and stuff like that, and articulation. But again, we come back to this one, and as I say, this is the only known functioning Michael Jordan figurine, yet was never sold or released.
All right, so you mentioned that you got a lot of this stuff from eBay, and something that we're dealing with today is that it is very expensive to mail things to you in Australia. Why is it so expensive to mail to Australia?
It's expensive more so for us to purchase because the American currency conversion rate. So we're sort of we're forever digging into our pockets further. So to be a collector like I am, I've told people in I think it was 4 or 5 year buying period, I spent over 100,000 Australian dollars to purchase this collection, and 25 of that was in shipping, because I didn't buy bulk. I was buying individual items. So I can't explain it, but it's certainly more expensive for us to buy and send than it would be for used people to send it here.
So, it's just a distance thing, or like why it just is so, like, it's, it's prohibitive when people are buying products from here. It's like adding that shipping charge on top, like it's almost not worth it.
Correct. And sometimes I was paying more for shipping than I was for the product itself at that time. But I was certainly driven.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I know. It didn't make sense. But if you want it that bad and you're that passionate about it, you sort of look past that side of things. But I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. Well, exactly. I'm 17,000 kilometers away.
Well, I was looking when we were trying to figure out what time we were going to do this, and I was looking, and Australia has multiple time zones in itself.
Correct.
I was like, wait a minute. What time is it there?
Yeah, that's right. And I'm glad that we could narrow down the time.
Yeah, because I was confused. I was punching into the website. I promised my co-host I would ask this. Bluey is from Australia.
Correct.
Are you familiar with Bluey? Is Bluey a huge deal in Australia?
Probably more so I've got a child now who's 3 months old, so I'll probably be learning more about Bluey as we go along. But I haven't.
Oh yeah.
I haven't had too much interaction with Bluey. I mean, we've heard of it and stuff like that, and obviously we're proud to see the success take over. But I haven't had much to do with Bluey at all, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. But it sounds like that's in your future.
It certainly will be. Yeah.
Kids gonna love Bluey.
And opening some of these vintage toys up.
You're gonna open them?
Oh, for sure, yeah. I can't wait for my daughter to grow up, and
wow.
I want to recreate that nostalgia and memories with her as well, and for her to experience and have fun with it, so I'm prepared to open some of those ones I've had for 30 plus years.
So some people collect as an investment. That doesn't sound like what you're doing. You're just collecting for the love of the game.
Yeah, I've said I'd like to donate this to Michael Jordan, and my purpose is what I believe is to eventually meet him and to donate this for it to be seen in America in a museum type location or something like that. Where people can experience it. But because I do have doubles and triples of stuff, they're the kinds of things that I certainly want to open and enjoy and experience with my daughter as she grows up.
Do you have a favorite Michael Jordan toy that you've collected over the years?
Yeah, look, 100%. Look, it's this one. And part of this journey is trying to get it valued. And I know you're aware of Jordan Hembrow, and that's the guy who I've been trying to reach for years, because I want an independent valuation. My personal opinion, and I'm too attached to this. But because this is different from the rest, because it's the first Michael Jordan figurine, because there's such a history and nostalgia and a real significance to it, it'd be interested to know exactly what these truly are worth. So that is something I'm on a journey on.
Yeah.
A guest that you had on recently, Mr. Brian Volkwies, him and I have connected and have been in connection for the last couple of years. And it was about a year ago, on the back end of a conversation, I said I wanted to push this into America to try to get on TV and stuff. And he suggested making a 4-minute video. Now, in April this year, I invested thousands of dollars and quite a bit of my time and created that 4-minute video. And if he's watching this, I'm still waiting for Mr. Volkwies to review it and get back to me. Get back to me in regards to it. So if you are watching, I'm still waiting. He asked me to be patient. It's been 6 months, so I hope he does. And
he's got hundreds of people asking him about Star Trek. He said he's going to respond to everyone.
Yeah, so absolutely.
He's got a lot of people he needs to respond to.
I love what he does, because I just won a gift from Nacelle, which was, they did a giveaway of the Biker Mice from Mars. There was some etchings signed. I won one of those, the Vaney cover with the basketball. So I'm really looking forward to receiving that. But
awesome.
I have been gently talking with Mr. Volkwies in regards to what I want to achieve. And because he's so respected within the community, I took on board what he said. So I'm still waiting for that feedback.
we'll tag him.
Thank you.
I'll push that along.
And Jordan Hembrough too, if you're listening.
We mentioned the major wrestling. Jordan Hembrough, Toy Hunter, sure. Yeah, I worked with him on the HasCon. What is it?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
No. I wasn't actually involved. It was a joke. We mentioned the Major Wrestling Figure podcast earlier, and I know that I think it's is it World Series of Wrestling? There's an Australian trip that Matt Cardona goes on. So I feel like the next one that comes up, you need to connect with him, have him do a toy vlog from your house. I think that's perfect.
That would be great. And I have reached out to him. I think it was I only know it as Myers Wrestling. I don't want to say Mike Myers, but I think it's Brian Myers.
Brian Myers.
He came out recently as well, so I tried connecting with him to try arrange something. So I've definitely been on that path to try align something up, and I certainly welcome the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, I think that would be a really interesting Michael Jordan of wrestling figures meets the Michael Jordan of Michael Jordan collecting.
Definitely. Matt, if you're ready and you're up for the challenge.
Well, he's always ready.
Yeah.
He's always ready. So we'll find out. So last year, or recently, Hasbro brought back out the starting lineup figures, and they made them modern action figures with super articulation. Didn't do super well. Did you get a chance did you collect any of these? Were you interested in collecting any current day players?
No. I'm very specific.
Okay. No.
I really focus in on Michael Jordan toys because I found when I started doing this, nobody is doing it. Like there's hundreds of thousands of the jersey collectors, shoe collectors, even memorabilia.
Yeah.
But nobody's telling the story specifically through his toys, and I'm very grateful to be at the forefront of that.
Did you collect anything else? Not even just toys, but anything besides Michael Jordan toys?
No, not really. Again, this comes back to
No, okay.
I've always watched Antiques Roadshow, and something I love about that show is people who become very super focused in on something and become almost the expert themselves. So that's what I did, as I lasered in, and this is all I focus on.
We have an associate, Pixel Dan, who travels the country taking photos of rare Ninja Turtles and He-Man, and he put together a book. Have you thought about doing something similar to that?
Another person who I've tried to reach out to as well. So, Dan, if you are listening, please check your DMs because I have sent you stuff.
He's never going to respond. Pixel Dan does not respond. If you are able to get him to respond to you, please let me know, because I've tried. We've talked to people who've tried. He will not respond. I don't know what happens.
You certainly have to try. You know what I mean? Absolutely. So
you got to try.
A book, definitely. There's something will be eventually happening. As I said, in regards to the book I showed you before, the memorabilia book that Oscar, my friend, did of the Jordan merchandise, it's quite expansive. So I would like something that is more focused on the toys. Given my collection and history and knowledge, it's definitely something that I'll be doing in the future. And even an interactive, I guess a virtual tour of the room itself. So people who can't get over here or whatever can sort of virtually go through and experience it, is what I see it at.
You had the Last Dance documentary come out in the last few years. Did you see a spike in value? Like, do you check eBay to see how much stuff is going for?
I have seen things go up. I mean, you can ask for anything you want on eBay. Is just a matter of what people are willing to pay for.
That's true. You got to check the sold listings. What actually sold.
Yeah, that's right. I personally had a more interest into my collection and stuff. So I've been very fortunate to be involved in a magazine called Sneaker Freaker. Now, they gave me a 12-page feature, and it's called The World's First Michael Jordan Toy Figurine.
Oh, look at that. That's cool.
That is
cool. Cool.
Then a Hong Kong magazine named
almost
Milk.
Looked like he had antlers there.
Yeah. Hong Kong magazine named Milk. They did a huge Jordan collector's edition. They gave me a 2-page feature in that as well. So that's quite fantastic.
Cool.
And then recently I was in our local newspaper. I got the front page I got a front page article there with my Michael Jordan toys in a local newspaper.
Shooting
So
for the star.
it seems to be reaching quite a few people.
That's cool.
The closest person I've reached to Jordan is his son, Marcus. So I've had contact with Marcus over the years, and I've gifted him even one of these toys because I knew the family wouldn't have one. So I've done that. And the one I actually show you here, that's signed by Luke Longley when I met Luke. So Luke Longley was a championship teammate of Michael Jordan who lives in the same city that I live in. So Perth has a great connection to Michael Jordan. So this is signed, and I believe is the only signed Jordan figurine of a championship teammate as well. So it's always about connecting dots and stuff like that.
If people follow you on Instagram, they can go to your link tree and see all your past articles. And something really caught my eye. You had Getty, the photo service, take some photos, and I love it because if you click on one, they would like you to buy these photos if you want to use them. The large, $499. That's $499.
Correct.
So I hope they don't mind that if I just take a screenshot and use that.
Well, I know that
purchase the actual photo.
And that was a great opportunity. I know the photographer quite well now since he came over and did that. And even I have to, if I want those pictures, probably have to pay for them myself. But I always tell people it's great that I forever have this link to Michael Jordan toys. Like it's almost synonymous now. If you Google Michael Jordan toys, you're bound to see a picture of me come up. So I feel like I've done quite a bit of work. I've been at this for 9.5 years now. So I've seemed to have worked my way up to a place where I'm respected within the Michael Jordan collecting community.
Well, hopefully for that 10-year anniversary, maybe we can make something happen with Brian, or
that would be great,
or something. We can this will be the interview that pushes you over the top.
Yeah.
It'll finally click with someone out there. It's like we need to do a full-on documentary. We need to fly out Michael. This is where it needs to happen.
Thank you. I would appreciate that. And for people who go to my page, you can see the 4-minute video I made that I sent to Mr. Volt Weiss. You can see it. Basically, my Instagram page is a resume of the work that I've done. So when I am put in front of Michael Jordan, I can show and just explain to him, this is what I've done for me to have this opportunity to be put in the same room as you to have this conversation.
I would hope that he would appreciate that. I think it's pretty cool. Well, we definitely appreciate you, Josh. Is there anything that you would like to let people know where they can check you out, learn more about you?
Certainly. I mean, you can always Google my name or Michael Jordan's Rarest Toy. You can find me on Instagram, which is joshua.devaney, or the Michael Jordan Toy Historian, which you can see behind me. Basically, I just want people to know that I am really at the forefront of this, and the only person really dedicated to pursuing the education, preservation, and storytelling of Michael Jordan toys from the beginning to recent. It's something that I'm truly grateful and blessed to be a part of. And as you said, this could be, to me, there's a glass ceiling between meeting where I am and meeting Jordan. So if this is what breaks it through, I'm forever grateful. But again, I'm appreciative of your time and your audience, and I'm very grateful to share all this knowledge and collection with you.
Josh, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.